Okay, Commissioner McGuire, would you lead us in prayer, please, sir?
Sir, bow with me, please. Father in heaven, we come thanking you for this day. Lord, we just ask for your hedge of protection around us today. Father, as the weather comes in, Lord, we pray that you be with our first responders to deal with anything that they need to deal with today, Father, and we pray that you lead and guide us and direct us in all that we do here, Lord. And we just ask it all in your name. Amen.
Amen. Would stand with me for the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll call this May 20th, 2025 Marshall County Fiscal Court meeting to order. First up, under guest, Mr. Pagel.
Yes, sir. We are excited and happy to have a guest in Dylan Gertz, who in February earned the distinction of an Eagle Scout. And Dylan has been a scout for, he tells me, 10 years, but he's working on his Eagle Scout project from 6 to 8 months. He's here with his mother, Crystal, and a mentor leader, Dina. Dina's son, Wyatt, went through the program a few years ago and probably helped guide him through. So I thought Dylan, again, Dylan Gertz, would have the opportunity to come tell us about some of his projects or what he's been doing, working on, and share it with the court. And we just want to say congratulations to you as well and get your picture. Would you want to stand at the podium or do you want to stay where you are? Either one would be fine. Okay.
So,
Go ahead, sir.
For my Eagle Scout project, I built 6 benches for First Missionary Baptist Church around the Gaga Ball Pit. It took a couple months of planning and then procuring materials with my grandfather, who, without him, I probably would have put a drill through my hand. And we built the benches, a lot of paperwork, and then a couple of days after that, I had my actual board review, and I got the rank. A couple years before that, we helped my entire troop. We completely redid the courtyard down by the Resiliency Center, which was full of weeds and had spray paint everywhere. We made new benches and seal coated them, and it was a lot of fun. It took us probably a month, and like you said, I've been doing scouts for 10 years, all the way from Cub Scouts, so it's been a major part of my life. But thank you all for doing this.
Congratulations on that achievement. Does anyone else want to add anything?
Are they going to start going around the other way on your? You have so many badges.
I don't know.
Yeah, or you just get a second one and go under it or something like that, maybe. That's great.
That's awesome. Quite an achievement. We would like to get a photo before you sit down.
Yeah.
Just noticed our state representative, Chris Freeland's with us today. One of the many things he's helped us with recently is securing $1.7 million in a state budget for a package plant in Aurora. We certainly appreciate that, Chris. Thank you.
And that budget is coming right back up this year, so we'll be talking to him about more things, right? He is a
That's
great
exactly
guy.
right.
We really appreciate him.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So, anyway, next we have our Veteran Support Group.
Good morning. Thanks for the opportunity to appear here before this group. And my name is David Green, and I'm the president of the Marshall County Veterans Support Group, which combines the efforts of the American Legion, the VFW, the DAV, and other military support groups in the county. so we can try to coordinate with each other and work in tandem instead of in competition with each other, because we all have the same mission, and that is to support veterans, military veterans, serving members of the military and their families, and that's our reason for being. I want to thank the Fiscal Court, this body, and previous editions of the county government for the Veterans Plaza that we have at Mike Miller Park. That is a fine facility. It's as nice as any I've seen in traveling around the country and looking at veterans memorials or honoring places such as our park. We addressed the group several months ago about the need to make at least one modification to the park, and that would be to add a sixth flagpole, since we have now 6 branches of America's armed forces. In addition to the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, and Coast Guard, we now have the Space Force. We have a very nice display of the 5 service flags at our Jerry English Memorial Plaza. And we'd like to figure out a way to add that 6th flag and mount an additional pole and somehow arrange the 6 flags in some kind of symmetrical fashion, similar to what we have now in a pentagonal arrangement. We've had discussions about other possible renovations to the park, and there have been some things done recently, including the addition of a new semi-trailer speaking platform, which we got to see in the what was the
Prayer service.
Prayer service,
Yeah.
National Day of Prayer. Those of us in the Veterans Support Group and the member institutions of that, I really don't know how much the county can count on us for financial support of this, because we're kind of on a shoestring budget, all of us. We don't get any funding except out of the goodness of people's hearts and what we can beg for. So we would defer to the board as far as what improvements need to be made. But we would be glad to participate in any discussions of that and answer any questions as far as our views on the matter are concerned.
I do have a question, David, and we'd spoke about this on the copyrighted image for the Space Force. Has there been any progress on that, on getting a hold of that so we could get that to a monument company to have that produced?
I'm pretty sure we can, because they're marketing flags now.
Okay,
With the logo on there. That tells me that that's been green lighted. So,
okay.
So that can be done. I'm not sure. I can find out what kind of permission we may need to get in order to obtain that, but I'll follow up on that.
And I forget, who was it, one of you all, I thought it was you, but I had spoken to one of you all about that. Somebody was working on that. Was it you?
I was there,
Okay.
You're not taking responsibility?
See, Jeremy, we're reeling her right back in, so there you go.
I'll be glad to follow up on that.
Okay,
Judge.
okay.
I'll
Yeah, let us know.
See what I can find out about that and report to.
Okay, we'll see what we can get done on the, getting an additional flagpole installed and
Right.
get that placed to where it's pleasing to everybody.
Just so it's part of the record, I will revisit some of the things we talked about in our earlier meeting about possibly reorienting the location and building a permanent speaker stand. Of course, now we have the new mobile one, and where it faces to the west instead of to the east, and maybe putting some kind of a backup retaining wall around there, because we might want to rearrange the statues and the lists of casualties from the wars. We'd need to add a 6th statue to the 5 that we have now over on the southwest corner of the memorial. But anything that we can contribute to that other than financially, we'd be glad to do a fundraiser to try to raise some money for that. But we're kind of chasing our tails as far as seeking finances, and trying to work with the Representative Freeland and other members of the legislature to get all this military support groups an exemption from paying state sales tax. At this point, we've been turned down there is an inconsistent application of the rules. Because I've seen American Legion posts, same as ours, with a tax exemption certificate. Our request has been turned down. And it's owing to the Internal Revenue Service's designation of charitable nonprofits. The magic number is 501c3. That's the magic number. Military support groups are designated as 501c19. There's about 24 different designations for various purposes. Why that's necessary, I really don't know. An organization is either nonprofit and charitable, or it's not. It's as simple as that. I've been told that there's a hang-up in the Kentucky laws that states the opinion that groups such as the American Legion are self-serving groups. That's hardly true. None of us gain anything from that. We're strictly volunteers. Our members pay a membership fee, and that may be some sort of a snag. But that doesn't mean our members are the only ones that we serve. We serve all veterans, whether they're members of a service organization or not. But any help that the Fiscal Court could give us on that, I'm trying to put together requests to go to the State Attorney General and the Secretary of State and to Representative Freeland and Senator Carroll and see what we can maybe get done, because it's cost us several $1,000s over the past couple of years in state sales tax that we've had to pay. Any other questions?
So I wasn't aware, so the state has authority over
They have authority
what
over
the IRS?
They have authority over the collection of Kentucky state sales tax.
Right.
We have a.
But the IRS is the decision maker on whether you are a 501c3 or a 19.
That's correct.
Okay. So you have to get their, if you had their blessing, the state would have no choice.
Here's the
but
thing
what
about
you're-
it. The National American Legion is a 501c3.
Okay,
We
within
are
the state
we are
or
a
the
local
locals.
organization of that. I don't know why we can't just ride the coattails of that. But anyway, the Kentucky regulations won't grant that to a 501c19.
Well, do you have other states that you're aware of?
I've got
That
other-
local,
I've got other American Legion posts in Kentucky who have been granted exemption.
oh,
That's why I was referring to the inconsistent, haphazard application of the laws that are in effect now.
interesting.
That's a problem.
Okay.
Anything else? Again, we're just trying to keep our heads above the water as far as finances and expense of maintaining our post. And the things that, the services that we provide are pretty much out in front of the public to see. The honor guard that we have that provides military rights at veterans' funerals on request. The Marshall County Van Service, which Leonard Harp administers for us. We deliver veterans for medical care. I've got to run tomorrow to Johnston City, Illinois, to take a veteran up there for medical treatment. And we're proud to do all these things. The funerals, of course, it's not something that we enjoy doing, but it's something that we are honored to do. And we hope that it provides each family with a measure of relief or comfort at the loss of their loved one. And we buried one of our former post commanders yesterday. And we've done, more than 750 funerals? Yeah. So we're happy to do these things and want to keep doing it. The worst thing about our situation right now is the inability to attract younger members. That's understandable with people who are younger veterans and they're concerned with pursuing their civilian careers, with raising families, with other activities that they or their youngsters may be involved in. We get that. But we'd sure like to have some of them come forward and replace us old geezers and we do a pretty good job with drill and ceremony for a bunch of 75-year-olds. But our days are limited, and we'd sure like to be able to recruit some younger members, and we haven't had any luck in doing that.
Okay.
You know, I think a lot of organizations have that same issue. You've
I
been
agree.
in
Yes.
other organizations like Rotary and Lions Club and
Yeah, our last
Kiwanis, you know.
Last Kiwanis meeting, we had 4 members.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
I don't know why that is, but I mean,
It's kind of becoming a me first culture. A lot of things that are driving that includes the technology and cell phones and internet and so forth. But whatever the cause is, it's hard to get volunteers. A lot of, over the last, since 9/11 in particular, we've really worked the volunteer crowd hard. We've, all the natural disasters that have occurred, each one that occurs, it calls on us to rise up again and provide volunteer assistance. Over in Laurel County, we've got a situation, looks like they were hit just about as bad as Mayfield was. It just wasn't quite as big a municipality to get hit. But these things are going to happen, and the trend toward looking after our own benefit rather than the community's benefit or the nation's benefit, it's kind of becoming second rate. And whatever we can do to encourage a change in that would be a good thing, in my opinion.
Okay.
Anything else I can offer to you guys?
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for all that you do and all that has been done over the years on behalf of veterans. Thanks to the Veterans Group members who preceded us, including the former post commander that passed away recently. We're just following in their footsteps and trying to make them proud of us.
Well, thank you all for everything you do, and most people really don't have a clue how much you all actually do. So we
Thank you,
appreciate
Jeff.
it.
Appreciate that.
Leonard, I see you sitting there. Do you have any need for drivers or anything you want to update on transportation?
You want to be a driver?
When I retire, how about that?
I want to remind
I've
you
got,
of the Memorial Day service coming
13
up.
drivers right now. I could use 20.
Okay.
Now, I'll swap every 3 weeks. Right now, I've got some drivers driving twice a week.
Okay.
Bill just reminded me that we have the Memorial Day Remembrance Ceremony scheduled at Mike Miller Park on Monday at 11 a.m. And we would certainly invite everyone here to come out for that. Hopefully it's a holiday for most everybody. The courthouse will be closed on Monday the 26th. And so we'd love to see everybody there. The VFW is in charge of this year's celebration, and our Post 236 Honor Guard will participate as usual to present the flags.
All right. Great. Jeremy, I believe you have something pertaining to flag on the courthouse lawn?
That was David Green.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think,
You want it? You mind stepping up?
they had talked about moving the POW flag from where it's at.
No, actually, the flag was going to be flown out here for a certain amount of days for funerals.
Oh, that was John Brinkley.
Okay, you have details on that? That's a grounds policy thing. We just need to vote on it real quick.
I'm supposed to be retiring.
Well, I told
Stepping
you it
down
wasn't going to last long.
here. I'm sorry. I had seen a flag flown for a deceased veteran at a courthouse. It was called Flag of Valor. And I thought that was really a cool thing. And so I had brought it up at our meeting among my officers on their intake and so forth and their input on it. And since we were talking about flags at Mike Miller and the courthouse lawn and so forth, I wanted to present it to you, Judge, and I've got a volunteer, John Brinkley, said he'd take that on. So I drafted out a form, and I think he might have shown it to you, and he's working on that. And what it is we will have the flag flown for that deceased veteran in honor of them and then it is presented to them at the honor guard that will present it at the military funerals, or we'll pass it on to the funeral home here at Collier's. And so that's something that we would like to honor our veterans. There's a lot of veterans that we keep tabs with in the funeral homes, Steely House, other areas, and most of the time we don't get to meet the families until there is a crisis, and they come in our doors downstairs. So,
Do we need to wait on the document John's getting, Jason, to vote on that, or can we go ahead and vote on the
So
grounds
I mean,
policy? Okay.
it's just a specific flag for them. It's a
it's
United
an
States flag.
exactly.
just
It's an
that
American
we're
flag. It's
putting
just that
up.
we're putting it in honor. Exactly,
You
and
want-
it will
then
fly for
they-
that one
And then
day.
they'll be told that it was
Yes,
flown.
yes,
I got you.
absolutely. And there is a form, and it can be drafted into even a certificate on behalf of that veteran.
We'd be happy to do that.
Be flown one day, just one
Yes,
day?
one day.
Okay. Do
So-
you have a motion
Yeah.
to do that going forward?
Yeah, I'll make that motion. We
Okay.
fly the flag for one day and then it's presented to the families however they want to do it.
Thank you.
I need a motion for me to sign certificates or anything if they want.
Yeah, I mean, well, the motion would be to allow that, and then the judge can sign a certificate if you want to present anything.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what John is drafting up, so that the
Okay.
judge can go ahead and present.
Yeah,
And
Amend
he
it
will
to-
sign that.
yeah,
Sign.
amend that a motion to where we'll fly the flag and then the judge will be able to sign their certificate saying that whatever it needs to say there.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It will be called Flag of Valor.
Okay.
She's retiring supposedly, but you got anything you want to say about that?
Well, Benton chapter of the DAV, I know we talk about the American Legion, we talk about the VFW, and when I came back home here from the military, there were like 4 older gentlemen at Mike Miller Park. That was it. And I looked for an organization, and that was the organization. I was like, holy cow. So at that time, I was a youngie. And I was like, okay. So they recruited me in really quick. And so I took it on in, I believe, 2017. So I finished up my 30 years in 2013 and came back home here. Went to school here, have a mother here, family here, so here I am. So I took this on and went along that Mitch Henson came on board as my adjutant. And since then, we have, our membership is like 160 members now. It's incredible. Thank you so much for the use of the courthouse office. In that office, especially when that tornado came through in 2020, oh my gosh, it was such an incredible learning experience for all of us because all of our veterans' most sacred document of DD-214s were blown away, tragically. And so we had no proof of showing that you were a veteran for health benefits, any kind of funeral benefits, you name it, anything for these families. And so since then, we have asked for grants for our computer systems. We make ourselves open. In fact, we have been asked by state and national reps, what makes you all so successful? And my answer is, number 1, teamwork. Number 2, we make ourselves available. It's not just a phone number. We are in here every Wednesday, and that door is open every Wednesday, and we all work together. Every officer that we have, we all come in, and we make that commitment just to come in, to make ourselves available for walk-ins, appointments. I have 2 service officer reps now, fixing to get a 3rd one. They're going in June to learn all the latest laws on the benefits, and they go every year. Proud of that. We send honor flights. Leonard just got back from the Bluegrass honor flight. And and Bear. I didn't see Bear. I didn't see you, Bear. And Bear, and we've got more. And so it's a joy to honor these folks and get them out there twice a year. 2 of them a year we send out there. And trying to get these guys trained up. And yes, I have a young man here. who, as we said, that you groom your guide and you turn it over to them and let them run with it and make it better than what I was able to do where I left off. I can't make it any more efficient and better than where I'm at now. So he needs to take it on and run with it, and he'll do greater. So, and that's the way it's supposed to be. So Jeremy Wallace is now the DAV commander. I'm very proud of him, pleased, and all of our officers are here that represent the DAV. So thank you all so very much for supporting us. Corey, you've been a big help to us too. Every time we have something, we run upstairs to Corey. So we thank you, and thank you so very much.
Thank you for
Thank y'all.
all you've done. And I have no doubt we'll continue to do, as long as Jeremy's got your phone number anyway. Okay, let's see here. Need a motion to approve the May 6th meeting minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to approve the May 15th special called meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Parks Department, Brittany? We had a little damage at the park from this latest storm. Brittany called and said,
We've got a situation.
yeah, we've got a situation. That's her famous last words. I said, okay, what is it today? She said, we have a tree on one of the pavilions. So that's not what she's here to talk about today, but we do have one of those closed down. It's over by the splash pad. My guess is it's probably going to be demoed and a new one built. We're waiting to hear from insurance on that, but just very blessed. No one was injured or anything like that. That's all that matters. We can rebuild whatever. So, okay, Brittany.
All right, so we talked about at the last meeting the idea of doing memorial benches. Specifically had somebody requesting to put one out at Big Bear Day Park. So Andy and myself went out to Big Bear and took a look around. What we have at Big Bear, currently we have a lot of picnic tables, and they are the big, heavy concrete picnic tables, like probably close to 20 picnic tables out there. We don't need that many. We have 2 pavilions at Big Bear. There are 5 of those in one pavilion. There are 6 in another, and then the rest are scattered around kind of out on that point. So when we looked at that, my personal opinion, and I said this before, my personal opinion is that I would really like to see us replacing outdated equipment as opposed to adding additional things in, especially when you look at Big Bear. Out on that point, there's just kind of a lot of clutter. There's those concrete picnic tables that are scattered around. Most of them are on concrete poured pads already, but then we have some very dated, old, metal, round, rusted picnic tables that I think just need to come out. So I would love for us to look at the possibility of, if we're going to do memorial benches, let's look at those spaces out on the point that already have poured concrete pads where these old concrete benches are, and let's maybe look at offering a memorial bench on one of those poured spaces, and let's move out some of those picnic tables. They look old. I mean, they look like they need to go. So I am all for updating and upgrading what we have, especially when it's kind of on its way out anyway. But we did also look at a couple of other spaces that could be an option. So that is kind of up to you all. If you want to go more the route of looking at places that are already currently existing and upgrading what we have that needs to go anyway, or if you want to just add additional benches, and that's an option too. I would recommend for that location, there are a couple of different kinds of benches. We could do an all steel bench, or we could do kind of a hybrid. That is, the seat back and the base are made of recycled plastic, and then it has a frame that is kind of a coated steel or aluminum. Those can be engraved in the actual slats itself, if we do that recycled plastic option, or you go the total steel option, and then we can do the bronze plaque that mounts on there. So those would be my options for that specific location that I would suggest.
My question would be, did y'all come up with a process of you know, if we start this, how do we say yes and no, or we all, you know, if we get inundated and we don't have enough places to put all of them, how do we?
Absolutely. Yeah,
How do we go
so
about that?
when we kind of looked at this, Andy and I talked, and we've shared this document back and forth. Morgan and I really looked at some things. So I break it down here, how many benches we currently have in Mike Miller and kind of where they're located. That, to me, would be where we start. And I don't foresee that we would ever upgrade every single bench that we have in Mike Miller. There's a lot. So I think that if we are looking at it from an aspect of we are replacing what we already have that is aging, then I think that we're fine. If we look at it from that aspect. If we look at the Big Bear location specifically, out there on that point, there are 3 different poured concrete pads with those concrete picnic tables that in theory could absolutely be replaced with a bench. So I would say at that location, if you wanted to go with the replacement upgrade option, you've got 3 benches that we could potentially offer at the Big Bear location. If you're looking at Mike Miller, there's numerous ones. So we have 5 at the Veterans Plaza that could be done as memorial benches. We have the 2 on the main playground that get used a lot that could be done as memorial benches. The 2 that are out on the levee down by the lake. So that would be my suggestion, because I think that kind of keeps it reined in a little bit. If we are just looking at replacing existing benches, then that gives us kind of that set number that we have to work with.
We've also got all the day-use parks. Now, obviously, they would have to be anchored down.
Yes.
But Rocky Point,
Some
Birmingham.
of them, yes, yeah. We
you
could do
know.
benches at some of them,
Yeah.
not all of them,
Yeah.
based on our contracts and restrictions with TVA,
And
but there
just
are
to-
some of them.
Just to be clear on this for the court, those that would be requesting those, they are going to be paying for the cost on the benches also.
So one thing that I talked to Calvert City about to see how they are currently doing theirs, and I like this suggestion. They do not have a price that they say, hey, for $1,500 you can get a bench. What they do is they have their bench selected that they know they want to use, and it is whatever the price is at the time, because prices fluctuate, obviously. So if somebody calls and says, hey, I want to do a bench at Mike Miller, then I see if that is a 6-foot bench or an 8-foot bench, depending on the location. I call and I get the current price on it, find out how much the shipping or the freight is for it, and then that is the price that they would pay, is whatever our cost actually was. So I kind of like doing that as opposed to saying, hey, it's $1,500, and then in 6 months the price increases 25%, and then we're operating at a loss there. So I liked the idea of just saying current price, including shipping. That way it just covers the cost of the bench itself. There are several things that I think would need to be discussed, and we've listed some of those out in here. I think that we would need, and this would be a Jason thing, but we would need a lot of language in there. I actually just saw a video the other day of somebody who did a memorial bench somewhere, and then they had showed up to that park and they were trying to kick people off of the bench. I paid for the bench, it's my bench, you know. So I think we're going to have to be very specific in some language on this program, because that will inevitably happen. You know,
Can't sit on my bench.
Right,
Is
yeah.
that what we're?
Yeah, it has my mom's name on it, so I should be able to sit here at that kind of a situation. You know, how long is the sponsorship, so to speak, good for? The life of the bench would be my suggestion. I saw some places that have programs where they say it's good for 10 years or it's 15 years. In my opinion, it would be the life of the bench as determined by staff. So when we say it's time for the bench to go based on structural integrity or, you know, things of that nature, then that's how long it would last. But those are things that would need to be discussed and thought through before we actually could launch something like this.
Yeah, I'd want to see some language in the approval process for, you know, and it's sad to say, in this day and time, somebody, you know, something very inappropriate, they might want to memorialize.
Absolutely.
And I'd want to be able to,
Yes.
no way of denying that.
Yes. And if you'll look on the back of the 3rd page, I kind of put a sample application form in there.
Mm-hmm.
You had 2 options, either in memory of or in honor of.
Yeah.
And then line 1, 2, and 3, we could make that even more specific to name and years. So that way we don't get any off-the-wall random messages or things like that.
Yeah.
One thing that I read from another Parks Department that had done something similar was they suggested not allowing businesses to do it, that it just had to be in memorial or in honor of someone, because then you got into, I think it was like a gentleman's club that wanted to sponsor a bench. So you have those situations where then you have essentially advertising in a park where kids are around. So it just kind of keeps that a little bit more defined and helps eliminate some of that. But I absolutely would be in favor of anybody, if you all choose to do this, that we would submit any applications to you all for final approval before it was actually put into place.
I wouldn't want a bench set in memory of Adolf Hitler.
Exactly.
And there's sick
Exactly.
people that would do that.
100%.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the options. Now, if you guys want to do something completely different, if you want to offer it to where they can put it in new spaces, then absolutely, we will do whatever you all think is best there. This was just kind of my suggestion from a logistical standpoint in order to be able to clear out, update some of the aging things that we have already anyway.
Does anybody have any more comments on this before Jason's asked to do some work on this to bring it back and then it maybe not be supported? So,
Yeah.
I mean,
As long as we can get the bugs worked out, I'd be in favor of doing something like
And,
this.
and Commissioner Barrett, every park has its own topography, and we looked at some places, like, this would be a nice place for a bench, but then you sit, and a short person's feet are gonna dangle, and they're gonna have to hop down, so where
Yeah.
elevations get steep, if you put one too close to some of those old trees, you're pouring a pad over a root system,
Yeah,
and, it could be done.
yeah.
But-
Well, I like the idea. I just want to make sure we won't have something that our community would be ashamed of if
Also-
somebody wants to make a statement, put something stupid on it.
You also wonder if it's, I mean, I'll be honest, we've had, that I'm aware of anyway, one request for this, right? So that request brought this forward. I don't know how we put it out there to know if this is something that would even be, I guess what I'm saying is, you're gonna put a whole lot of work into something that one person wants to do.
And it is going to be a little bit cost
I
prohibitive.
just
These
don't-
benches are not cheap.
It would be good to know, you can't poll everything, I get it. But we've talked about this a couple of times now. It'd be
Yeah,
interesting to know.
I think if you're talking about like $1,000, $2,000, that's going to weed out a lot of the idiots out there.
There's nothing under $1,000. It's going to be more like $1,500 to $2,000 and up. Yeah. And that is, like I said, that is just our cost. That is just what we have to pay for these benches.
And it would become our property once so if it's damaged the next year,
Yeah.
insurance pays for another
The
bench with
replacement.
their name on it, kind of thing, or?
Yeah, and that's something else that I would want to be specified in the language. Also, like, for example, when we have people do sponsor banners at the park, a lot of times at the end of their one-year term, they want to keep those banners. So we would need some kind of language in there also that states that it becomes property of the Parks Department, that at the end of a term or at the end of the life, it does not go to the person, because then we would be under our same regulations where we would need to either scrap or surplus or, whatever.
Yeah, we could
that
offer
may
to
be.
surplus it and they could buy it that way.
That way, yes. If
something
it
they
was,
want.
but honestly, we wouldn't be taking it out of service if it were still in good shape. So
Yes.
at that point, typically on something like that, it's just going to be beyond
Scrapped.
its life anyway, so. And if you guys want to take this back, call me with questions this week, pick my brain more, think of new questions that you want me to look into, that's perfectly fine.
do I have a motion table this to the next meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Motion and
moved.
second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Brittany.
Call for a short recess.
Yes, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed?
against it,
Motion
I
carries. Okay, we will call the meeting back to order. Andy's just going to read a proclamation, and we'll take a little pause after that. Andy?
Okay. This is a proclamation. This is Builder Safety Month, May 2025. Whereas our county is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depends on the safety and essential role of our homes, buildings, and infrastructure play, both in everyday life and when disasters strike. And whereas our confidence in the resilience of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, plumbers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a nonprofit that brings together local, state, territorial, tribal, and federal officials who are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes and standards to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, work, and play. And whereas these modern building codes and standards include safeguards to protect the public from hazards such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildland fires, floods, and earthquakes, and whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about the critical role of our community's largely unknown protectors of public safety, our code officials, who assure us of safe, sustainable, and affordable buildings that are essential to our prosperity. And whereas each year, in observance of Building Safety Month, people all over the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential service provided to all of us by local, state, and federal building safety and fire prevention departments in protecting lives and property. Now, therefore, Judge Spraggs hereby proclaims the month of May 2025 as Building Safety Month and encourages the citizens to join us as we participate in Building Safety Month activities.
Thank you. It's been brought to my attention, we have a birthday in the room, so Sheriff Hilbrecht's going to lead us in a happy birthday song to Anita. All right, let's go. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We're ready.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Anita. Happy birthday to you.
39.
39.
I doubt that. Okay, next item, advertise for bids, Miracle League canopy. These will be going over the dugouts at the Miracle League. So Brittany's going to put that out for bids. Funds for that will come out of the Miracle League account. It's not coming out of general fund dollars or anything like that. So money's there for that. We just need to put this out for bid because they are going to be pricey. Did receive a recent donation from a foundation that'll actually, from what I've seen on early numbers, cover one of those. So that's great. The community is strongly supporting this thing, and I can't wait till it's completed. You know, we have the grants that's been awarded for the concession stand restroom facility, and it's hurry up and wait on that. So that's just something we got to deal with. But anyway, I just need a motion.
You're not doing a great job of dealing with it, by the way. You mention it at least 3 times a week to me.
I'm hoping somebody will see that you know,
Right.
can help us out with that. I'm actually reaching out to some that may be able to hopefully push us up in that line a little bit, but we'll
I
see.
move we advertise for bids for the Miracle League canopies.
Thank you. Well, I have to admit, I'm not the most patient person, you know.
Really?
I realize that. My family will tell you that real quick. Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Advertise for bids, New Hope Road Bridge. That's one of those that we applied for and was awarded the funding for from the state. So very excited about that. A lot of work goes into that kind of things behind the scenes. Roy and Nicole put a lot of effort into that. So we appreciate everybody's work on that. So need a motion to advertise for bids for
So
New
moved.
Hope Road. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Advertise for bids. Road Department truck. We're actually going to be advertising for the purchase of a new truck replacing the one we have on Gov Deals. If we have not secured a good price on Gov Deals, then I think Roy's going to look at trade-in values on this bid also, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Move we advertise for bids for the road department truck.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Surplus, there's a flagpole out here, an older one over here. I talked to the veterans about that. They were in full support of that. We moved the POW flag to an existing pole down there that matched the others that we already had in place. So we're going to need a motion to take sealed bids on the old flagpole that was taken down.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Surplus, the carport that was hit by the straight line winds that the emergency management response trailer was setting under. Thankfully, it was not damaged. Mr. Pagel's already reached out to our insurance, and they are going to pay for a new one. We had some people express some interest in that one, so we need a motion to put that out for bids.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Bids, judicial building pumps. That's been an ongoing issue since I've been in office as judge. I even had IT put a alarm on there that alerts my cell phone all hours of the night when the pump exceeds safe levels. We've had to, the road department's gone out and pumped it. Our recent rainfall, 16-inch rain, I think we had 50-something hours, 58 and a half, Mr. Pagel says, of that 3-inch pump also being manned to keep the basement from flooding. During that time, it's still nearly flooded. So AOC wanted this put out for bid. It's replacing both pumps. They're at least 10 years old and hadn't been touched. The new pumps will be upgraded to three-phase, what's there, single phase, and they're going to do some sealing in the sump cavity. They've got some seepage in through that, and update all of the electrical to it, the control switches and all that. So looks like we have received one bid on that from Mertco. Lift station upgrades, demo old pumps, install three-phase, pretty well everything I just spoke about, for $27,858. Now, this will have to be, I don't guess it has to be, but yes, it will have to be approved by AOC. So what do we need to do in a motion on that?
Just make sure that it states that it is subject to approval by AOC.
Okay, need a motion that this would be subject to approval from AOC. Their portion they would pay of this would be 92%. We would be responsible for the other 8%.
Move we approve the bid from Mertco pending ALC.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I hope they do, because I'm really getting tired of getting woke up at 2, 3 a.m., whatever, so, but that's part of the job. We don't want a flooded
Is
basement.
it?
I guess it is. That's what I tell myself when my phone goes off.
You and your notifications.
Yeah, I'm the one that, anyway. I'm
anyway.
glutton for punishment. Okay, that's it. Road resolution. Hagel, you got that?
You gonna go through the whole thing?
What do we need to do?
I will have it. Roy should read it. Yeah.
You just looking for discussion on what to do?
Roy, you want to touch on that? Everybody's looking at you.
So as of right now, we have an existing road resolution and a new road resolution.
Okay.
What I would recommend is we only have one road resolution for the public to build a road by, instead of an existing and a new. Going out and talking to people about the existing road resolution, the stuff that they have to meet that's in that is confusing to them, and which I know Marty's been out and we've looked at some roads, and it's confusing to have an existing road and a new road resolution.
The problem with the existing road resolution, if it doesn't meet the new road, then we take it in, then we're going to spend a bunch of money on it. It's not going to last very long.
Well, and it is rare that anyone at this point would meet the existing. I mean, the first piece of it cannot be, where is it? There are no signs of failing asphalt or other significant problems with said road. The ones that we've looked at, you and I, in my particular district, that's a first. That's a first right there. I mean, it has failing asphalt, or they usually wouldn't call us to have it taken in.
Yeah, they're calling us to fix it.
Right, yeah.
Basically, that's what it is. It's got to the point where it's in such bad shape, they want the county to take it over.
Yeah. But my point, when he brought this up to me anyway, was there's probably 2 or 3, 4 that are still considering what they want to do. And so I think I'm fine with only having one, but I do think there needs to be a period where they have an ability to show whether or not they can hit this existing road.
You're just, I mean, that's what this is called is sunsetting the existing road revolution. So you would just put up.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
you
you're
would just-
sunsetting it as of whatever date that we put out there.
I would like to see at least a year on that. I'm certainly good with doing this, but I think a year would give any and everyone adequate time to, if they're going to do something, to.
So you want to say as of May 30th or May 1st of 2025
Well,
or 6?
why don't we, I mean, what is it? We're a month and 11 days from the new fiscal year.
Yeah.
So do
Just
it as
do
of the
fiscal
fiscal year.
End of fiscal year 2026.
Well, I'll do that, and then if there's more discussion, I guess. So I'll move that we sunset the existing road resolution from 2021 as of the new fiscal year 2026, 27.
No, at the end of the
25, 26.
25, 26 fiscal year.
Which is the what did I say? I said as of the 26, 27.
No,
which
you're
is the
talking about.
end of 25,
No,
26.
you're talking about 2 different days.
Quit arguing with the county attorney.
You're talking about July 1st, 2026.
June
when It should be
30th.
May 31st, no, June 30th, 2026, instead of July 1st.
I beg to differ, but, so let me clarify. Let me clarify my motion. I move that we sunset the 2021 existing road resolution as of July 1, 2026. 12:01 a.m.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there more discussion? You're not going to give up that easy, are you?
Now, do we need to, and then to adopt the sole one, or is the new one any different? We're just adopting, we're just gonna go with the one that's already there?
New one's already in place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so this would just be
okay.
terminating that
Yeah,
old one.
okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2 minutes later than it should be.
Oh,
This
God.
is, hey, what do you expect out of an attorney? He's going by minutes. That's how they charge, you know?
Send him a bill, please.
Send me a bill for the extra 2 minutes.
Okay, this one's going to take a moment.
He's dying to say something about realtors. I can
If
see
somebody,
it. I
if
can
somebody
see it.
files something at midnight before 12:01, you know, if somebody files something before then, it's on you.
Okay.
Okay, board appointments. I need a motion on each and every one of these. Motion to reappoint Stacy Ragsdale to the Cemetery Board, term to expire 6/30/29.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Motion to reappoint Steve Starks to Cemetery Board, term to expire 6/30/29.
So moved.
Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Motion to reappoint Megan Buchanan to Cemetery Board, term to expire 6/30/29.
So moved.
Motions or second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Motion to reappoint Scott Adair to North Marshall Water Board, term to expire 6/30/29.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Motion to appoint Jeff Nemo to North Marshall Water Board, term to expire 6/30/29.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Want to thank Billy Driscoll for his service there. He had reached out and indicated he did not want to serve anymore, but we certainly want to thank him for his many years of service. Motion to reappoint Jeff O'Brien to Jonathan Creek Water Board, term to expire 6/30/29.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Motion to reappoint Kevin Vaughn to East Marshall Fire Board, term to expire 6/30/28.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Motion to reappoint Sheriff Hilbrecht to the Fair Dealing Olive Fire Board, term to expire 6/30/28.
So moved.
Second.
y'all can't play along.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Motion to appoint Carl Lovett to Fair Dealing Olive Fire Board, term to expire 6/30/28.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Motion to reappoint Jeff Jaco to Palma Brownsburg Fire Board, term to expire 6/30/28.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
Here we go.
Motion to appoint Dina Girantano. Well, I did good.
That's pretty good.
To the Possum Trot Fire Board, term to expire 6/30/28.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carry. Motion to reappoint Cheryl Nolte to South Marshall Board, term to expire 6/30/28.
So moved.
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Motion to reappoint Emily Martin to West Marshall Fire Board, term to expire 6/30/28.
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That's all of the board appointments. Budget ordinance 2025-04, fiscal year 25-26. First reading.
You all know this will be long. I have to warn you every year. Okay. Ordinance 2025-04, first reading, budget summary. An ordinance related to the annual budget and appropriations. Be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County, Kentucky, Section 1, the following budget is adopted for the fiscal year 2025-2026, and the amounts stated are appropriated for the purposes indicated. All right. General fund, general government, $5,070,763. Protections to persons and property, $645,178. General health and sanitation, $560,000. Social services, $10,500. Recreation and culture, $1,282,525. Debt service, $630,590. General services, $876,269. Reserves, $900,000. Fringe benefits, $588,628. For a total general fund of $10,564,453. Road fund. Roads, $3,990,761. Other transportation facilities and services, $5,500. Fringe benefits, $593,700. Total road fund, $4,589,961. Jail. Protections, property, persons, and property. $1,759,505. Fringe benefits, $879,800. Total jail fund, $2,639,305. E911, protection to persons and property, $820,660. Fringe benefits, $252,900, for a total E911 fund of $1,073,560. Occupational Tax Administrator Fund, $51,500. Animal Shelter Donation Fund, $13,000. Sheriff's Fund, which is protections to persons and property, $5,108,200. Alcohol Beverage Control Fund. ABC Administrator, $16,200. Building Inspection Fund, Building Inspection, $173,996. American Rescue Plan Act Fund, $1,632,000. Clerk Storage Fund, General Government, $220,040. Federal Asset Forfeitures, Drug Forfeiture Purchases, $13,000. Opioid Remediation Fund, Community Development, $724,831. Transient Tax Fund, Distribution to other government agencies, $300,000, for a total of $27,120,046. Section 2, this ordinance shall be published in the Tribune Courier newspaper by title and summary within 30 days following the adoption. Section 3, this ordinance becomes effective upon passage and publication. Notice of availability. All interested persons and organizations in Marshall County are hereby notified that a copy of the county's proposed budget in full is available for public inspection at the office of the county judge executive during normal business hours.
Not bad. Considering
You
how
did-
long
I
we worked
wrote
on
it
it,
fast.
that wasn't bad at all. Okay, Treasurer's Report.
Okay, your treasurer's report is on the drive. That is for April, and that is just for you. That doesn't go to the state. It's the same 6 documents I usually give you guys. If there's any questions, just let me know. And you can always come by anytime you need any help with any of that stuff.
Need a motion to accept?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Transfers, appropriation transfer?
All right, I'll start with appropriation transfers. There are several department head requests. There is not a transient tax transfer today.
We approve the appropriation transfers.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Bank transfers.
For the bank transfers, they are all OTA to the funds that the OTA subsidizes, and they're all budgeted subsidies.
We approve the bank transfers.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to pay the bills?
Pay the bills.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to go into executive session. Litigation personnel per KRS 61-810, 1C and F.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, I just need a motion to adjourn. Let me call the meeting back to order. Now I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Any
I
opposed?
can't second my motion.
No.
Motion carries.